Alaska rental laws outline the rules in the state regarding lease agreements and eviction. We'll overview the laws for standard lease agreements, month-to-month lease agreements, and eviction. Standard lease agreement. A standard lease outlines the terms between a landlord and tenant for the renting of property. A standard lease is commonly a 1-year fixed period and the most common and widely used rental contract. Month-to-month lease agreement. A month-to-month lease agreement between a landlord and tenant that renews automatically at the end of every month. The agreement terminates upon notice by either the landlord or tenant. The notice in Alaska must be at least 30 days as required by law. Required disclosures. In Alaska, the landlord is required to provide the following disclosures as part of the lease agreement. Absence. All contracts in Alaska must have the statement that if a tenant is to vacate the premises for a period of time or more than 7 days, that the landlord must be notified. Name and address. The landlord must provide the name and address of a person authorized to manage the premises, whether it be the owner themselves or a management company. Withholding the security deposit. If the landlord is going to hold the security deposit from the tenant after the lease terminates, it must be stated why and for how long in the agreement. LandLord Access. In Alaska, the landlord is required to provide at least 24 hours notice before entering the property for repairs or any non-emergency reason. Security deposit laws. In Alaska, the landlord may only request up to 2 months' rent at lease signing. Although, if the monthly rent is more than $2,000, then there is no maximum to what the landlord may charge. At the termination of the lease, the landlord is required to return the money within 14 days if the tenant vacates the property in accordance with the lease terms. If not, the landlord may hold the security deposit for up to 30 days. Eviction laws. There are 4 main reasons for eviction in Alaska. Non-payment of rent. If the tenant has not paid rent on time, the landlord can send a 7-day notice for the tenant to pay or leave the premises. Deliberate damage to the property. If the tenant is purposely damaging the premises, the landlord can request the tenant be removed from the property with 24 hours notice. Illegal activity. If the tenant is engaged in illegal activity, the landlord can send a 5-day notice to have them removed from the property. Non-compliance. If the tenant has committed a non-compliance other than late rent, they will have 10 days to correct the issue or vacate the premises.